Trash Talk Radio, coming at you live on MP3 from way up on a hill above beautiful Lake Washington. My name is Lestro, and with me, as always, is the Guru.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
And you know how this goes. We're here to talk a little trash on the week's worth of sports. I don't know anybody except the Guru, and the Guru knows all.
Man, I know a little something, man. Just a little something.
Guru, it is episode 40, and you know we're still talking about the World Cup. Both Ronaldo and Messi are going home early, but Russia moves on with an amazing penalty kick display on Saturday. So we're going to talk about whether penalty kicks are the right way to end these games. And what is the best ending of a game? Is it the penalty kicks? Is it a game-winning field goal? A walk-off home run? A buzzer beater? Let's get into it, Guru. Then, speaking of buzzer beaters, it's NBA free agency, and we may not know where LeBron's going yet, but Paul George has already screwed everything up.
That check season.
So we've got our DC's podcaster Denton Day on the line with us to talk a little free agency in the NBA. We're going to talk about Paul George, we're going to talk about LeBron, we're going to talk about Kawhi. We got the whole thing covered.
Man, that's almost $1 billion contract right there, man. That's $250 million.
Then, with 65 days left until the NFL kickoff, Guru's going to give us his top 5 guards in the NFL. Top 5 guards, Guru.
The uglies, baby. Get some love on T2R. The big and uglies, baby.
Plus, you know we got the 2-minute drill. Another big show, Guru. TTR episode 40.
Yeah, 40, baby. Drink that 40. I wish we had a 40 right now, man.
You know, we should have it.
We should have a 40, man.
Last week you had the 39 jersey. This should have been a 40 in front of us, man.
Congratulations, Lestro.
I'm feeling good, man.
Man, let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's go. Thank the people, man, for the movement.
Not only that, we're thanking the people for the movement. We're thanking the people because we got big plans this week. We told you last week we had big plans. This week we're putting it into motion. Not only can you find Trash Talk Radio everywhere you can find podcasts, we're live on YouTube now, too. Look at this. I tell you what.
Talking about. Look at the studio, though.
It's crazy, man.
Beautiful Seattle.
Crazy, man.
Hey, y'all don't know about that Seattle life, though, man. Hey, I tell all my East Coasters, it's not only about Starbucks, and it's always not raining out here, man. This is lovely.
So, Guru, man, it's good to see you. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm living a dream, man. Don't pinch me, man. I'm living a dream, bro.
You know, you talk about Seattle as a place. I got to tell you, I tweeted this out this week at Moralestro on Twitter, but I had one of those great sports moments this week. It was, and it can only happen in Seattle. You know, like, I'm an upstate New York Phillies fan.
Trust me, we know if anyone listening to TTR, we know where Lestro is from.
So I'm a Phillies fan from upstate New York. I go to an Asian deli in Seattle. There's a Mexican dude in a Yankees jersey and hat. The Phillies are playing the Yankees. I get to talk to this guy about, I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. He doesn't know me. We get to talk sports. We get to talk about the Yankees, Phillies, and we end up talking World Cup. Great guy, and I just want to say, I told you we'd get that third game, man. I told you we'd get that third game. We got that third game. The Phillies pulled one out, but only in Seattle do you get to do that.
Only in Seattle. You get to do that while you're drinking a Starbucks coffee, man.
That's right.
Only in Seattle, I tell you.
It's a zoning code.
And you go hiking and still talking, right?
Right, every time. So, Guru, let's, speaking of Seattle, we talked how this is a soccer town, too, you know, and you've obviously been following the World Cup, getting all hyped for it.
Yes, sir, man, the world's greatest sport.
Right, we talked about this last week, that the Americans don't even call by the right name, because, you know, that's us. But we watched it this week. We had we moved to the round of 16 this week. We're out of group play in the World Cup. And in that first round of 16, last week we were saying who's the biggest star in the world. I'll tell you what, none of them are playing right now.
And we know who the biggest star in the world is.
It's LeBron.
We know who the king is.
We're still waiting to see where he's going to go. I'll tell you what, we're doing this show now. We got to tell people, we're recording this show ahead of time, obviously, for the recording schedule. By the time this show comes out, LeBron probably would have signed and everything's going to be moot anyway, but...
like we always said, I think LeBron... No, I think L.A. Bron.
Should we just pretend he's in L.A. already?
L.A. Bron. He's been in L.A. since game one?
The All-Star game.
Since game 1 of the NBA Finals. That's when his wife, the kids, everyone already started packing.
Yeah, right?
That was after game 1.
They shook Magic Johnson's hand at the All-Star game, and that was it, man.
Magic.
But Guru, with Ronaldo and Messi both out, it's a surprise there. I guess my first question is, do you have a favorite going forward then now with Argentina, Portugal out? Who's left that we're looking at as being the Germany's out? Who are we looking at being the team?
Some of the usual suspects. You got France,
France
obviously.
had a big win this weekend.
You got Brazil.
Right.
And for the lady, for the wifey, what's up, baby?
Right, of course.
I got to go with the Brazil, man. I got to go with them boys. They obviously not the favorite because of all those teams losing. They have more of a clearer path, in my thought, as far as, bringing that shit back to Sao Paulo, back to Rio, baby. The Guru will be there in December. I'll be there. Save that shit for me, man.
So the question then is, it could be over now because they play on Monday morning against Mexico.
7 a.m. West Coast time.
So they play Mexico, which is like the local favorite here in the States. You about to catch some grief for this.
I know, man. Viva la Mexico!
Right, my boy Cisco over on Basehead.
Mexico, man. I love my Mexican, my enchiladas, my tacos, man. I love them, man. Gosh, man, my coronas. I need some Mexican love. But you know what? I also love me some Brazilian steak, baby.
Absolutely.
I love me. Guru love himself some carnivore. I'm a carnivore. I eat the crap out of them damn steak, man. So with this, between a taco and a Brazilian steak, viva la Brazil!
See, and they're the better team anyway. Mexico kind of snuck in. This is almost a best of both worlds for Brazil. They get a good team to play, but not like
not
like
Germany. Not
exactly. You're not coming out against Germany. You don't have to play Messi. It's Mexico. It's a good sort of warm up in this round, right?
It's a good way to. It's like when you're bigger. It's like when you have a siblings. You're like 5 years older than them,
right?
And there's nothing they could do, even if they're strong.
You should beat them.
Yeah, you will beat them,
right?
At the end of the day, so. I see Brazil taking over this game, dominate. I say 2-0, 2-0. Ballsy.
I like that. All right. So we'll take that game going forward. But, Guru, I wanted to ask you, because I was watching this weekend the Russia-Spain game,
man. The host country, baby.
I'll tell you what. Now, they scored pretty much all the goals in that game because they had the own goal, and then they scored the goal to tie the game up. But that game went to penalty kicks, and it went down to it. Guru, do you like the penalty kicks to end the game?
Man, great question. Like, I was actually watching it, and there's certain, when you watch a game, we watch many sporting events in our lifetime.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there's just certain times when your palms are sweating. It's like when your heart is racing. It's just a certain moment in a spectacle, in a sporting world. And I was sweating.
Even with nothing on the line,
Nothing on the line. My heart was jumping. My feet was sweating. And the Guru sweats, man. So when the Guru sweat, that's nerves. So it's excitement. And that got me thinking, the whole world watching, right?
Right, everybody watching.
One man, 1-on-1. Right. Nobody else dared to interfere. The referee can't save you. A teammate can't save you. It's you and the goalie, the defender.
See, I would have it the other way. I would say it's you against the guy shooting because it comes down to the goalie, in my opinion. It's all about him.
It comes down to both levels because the skill set of the goalies to block and defend the goal.
Right.
The skill set of the shooters and the players is to score the goal. So it's basically you putting the best of the best, the strength of all strength. And now let's see who's going to be the strongest. That's why I think I appreciate and I love more the penalty shot than the shootout in soccer, especially in the World Cup magnitude. Just the fact that there is no one to save you.
Right.
There's, like in other team sports, like you have a team, so soccer is a team sport, but it's like this. The closest thing I could say is free throw with 0 seconds left.
Oh, when it comes down to it. Right.
In the NBA Finals, it's a tie game, and you have one free throw.
Well,
now,
Guru,
that's the closest thing I could think about. Wow. One person lost the game, and one person won the game. Now, that one is the true fact.
Right. Everybody's J.R. Smith when it comes down to penalty kicks, right? So the question is this the best, is this your favorite sort of like game ending? Yeah, end to a game. Because you got the buzzer beater in basketball, and I love a buzzer beater in March, but they're rare as a major thing.
They happen all the time in March.
Right, but not in the finals, not in June.
The last couple of times, as long as you're a blue team in a college, as long as you're blue, you're wearing some type of blue, you're going to get a buzzer beater.
Back to this again.
Let's go, man. The blue don't lie.
And then in baseball, it's the walk-off, the bottom of the ninth walk-off
Joe
home
Carter,
run.
man.
Oh, you had to bring it up.
Joe
You had to bring it up.
Carter.
Destroyed my
To all
teenage
my
years.
Toronto
Oh.
boys out there, man. To all Drake, in fact, Drake album. To all the Toronto, to 6, baby.
See, and that to me is like the ultimate. I love the walk-off home run because it is a one-on-one still. It's you against the pitcher, and it's just that hit, and then you get a chance to circle the bases with everybody watching you come in. That Joe Carter moment happened against the Phillies in 1993, right?
Of course, it was
I hate.
premeditated.
Oh man, it pissed me off so much. You have no idea. It just even now when I watch it again, I get like, it's still the greatest baseball moment as far as I'm concerned. I wish that it didn't happen against my team so that I could enjoy it more. But do you think that even beyond that, you still think it's the penalty kicks?
Yeah, I just think it's a penalty kick. Just the fact that the main difference is just the world aspect of it.
You think it's everybody watching, just you one-on-one?
That's what it comes down to. Because baseball, obviously, I think I look more of a sub-Sahara, more of that, the southern continents type of thing in baseball. I think that's more of the viewership as far as Latin America and the islands.
In the world, yeah.
Yeah, in the world. And basketball, it's global. It is kind of global. So basketball is a good, it might be second or third.
But basketball has like an overtime. They don't have that sort of like, it's going to come down.
It's more like a buzzer beater, like maybe a free throw closely. So basketball, as far as global-wise, they might have to, they might come close, but not football.
What about a field goal? Last second field goal, time coming down. That sort of what's his name? That Scott Norwood moment, that Adam Vinatieri moment.
The thing about that is you're still reliable. You still need a great snap. You still need a guy to hold the block. Like if it's a bad snap, that means the kicker is not responsible. So that's why I don't really put that offense on that because, like I said, the kicker is not. If something happens
so
wrong.
So what you're saying is it could always be Tony Romo's fault.
It could always be.
Still Tony Romo's fault.
Hey, you know what the guru loves? He loves when Tony Romo in clutch, baby. So one thing you guys gonna know about the guru, and everybody knows, he hates the Cowboys. I love when Tony Romo got 2 minutes left in the game. That's when the guru is like, oh yeah, Romo finna be Romo.
We're gonna win this one.
But now that's what I mean though, as far as why I think the shootouts, the penalty kicks are by far the best, man. It's so grandiose, man. There's such a grandiose moment, dude. Like everything stood still.
That's true.
Like everything stands still. The whole globe. It's like bigger than who's gonna be the president or something. It's like the whole club is like, all right, so then everybody knows the guy that either make it or miss it.
Right.
And from the history shows, quite a people, I don't know the numbers, but some people lost their life for missing it.
You're not entirely wrong about watching it. I will tell you, during that Spain-Russia game, I had Lil Lestro, right? And Lil Lestro rumbled up his pants just before the penalty kicks. But I wasn't changing him until those kicks were over, man. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I got to see how this thing ends. And then when I was like, all right, come on, let's go get you some clean pants. But before that, I stuck to it. I watched the penalty kicks. But when I watch a game like that Spain-Russia game come down to just the penalty kicks, I almost feel cheated. I almost feel like I want to see those two teams play until somebody can score a goddamn goal. Like, let's just go sudden death. Let's just keep it going, run the clock, just keep running.
The golden goal or something used to be called.
That's what I want.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to keep, that's fatigue comes to play. Like, you play 3 games in one. It's like, you're not really at that elite level. Now you're really watching JV guys playing, on that level. So I want to see you at the strength. You guys, this is the world class. You are the best of the world. I don't need to see you at 50%. I want to see you at your best.
Oh, I want to see you exhausted.
No, man.
The Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup does that all through the season in hockey. It's a shootout at the end of the game to determine where the point goes.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, they just keep playing until someone scores a goal. And I know the soccer field's a lot bigger, and eventually guys would fall down. But I would watch that too. That's what I would watch.
Watch all the flopping, right? And after the second OT, they'll flop. Every time the ball passes through, they flop.
Right, it doesn't even hit them. They're like, I'm down. I need to stretch. Well, from one flopping sport to another, let's move on to the NBA offseason. We teased it a little bit at the beginning of the show, and we got to go to a phone call with Denton Day, our sports columnist here. So, Guru, let's get Denton on the line. We'll talk a little NBA. We'll come back right after that. We'll finish up this segment, and then we got the second segment still when we're going to have Guru's top 5 guards in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
We got the 2-minute drill after that.
You know what? I have a beef with people calling it free agency. It's called
Check
season.
Check season. All right, so let's go to our phone call with Denton Day, and we'll talk a little bit of check season.
Absolutely.
With our man from D.C. And we're back on Trash Talk Radio with our DC sports columnist, Denton Day, who is the first one guru actually joining us on video, too. So make sure you check this out on the World of Sports Network YouTube page, because we are trying all kinds of new things, as we talked about. Denton, welcome back to Trash Talk Radio, my man.
My man, Denton Day. Last time we talked, man, we were hosting this shit back in D.C.
All caps.
They're great caps, baby. All caps. How you doing, Denton?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me. I put on some makeup today, so hopefully this looks good on camera.
Looking
put a little
sharp,
bit of beard
man.
oil
Looking
in so I
sharp.
can look nice.
Hey, man. Oh, watch out now. That's a heartthrob right there. Watch out, ladies. Hide all your sisters. Hide all your mothers. Every single ladies out there, watch out. Denton Day is in the building.
Don't hide them. Bring them. Bring them here. Don't hide them.
Now, Denton, as Guru alluded to, the last time we talked to you, you were actually on your way to the parade, the big Capitals parade. Man, how was that?
It was great. I mean, it was a great atmosphere. It was wild. There was I never actually got a full count on the number of people that were in the city, but it was a lot. It was the most people I'd ever seen there. Everybody was super nice. There's some almost mini performances, kind of parties going on certain blocks. It was a really great time, a great atmosphere, and for the most part, nothing in the city was trashed, which I think is a good sign. We handled it well, so it was a good time.
Well, man, I'm from Philly. That doesn't make any sense. I know all those words, but you're not trashing it. Are you really celebrating? Anyone punch? Did you punch a horse? Because that's how you celebrate, right? Isn't that no?
No. Yeah, we're not punching no. Oh, that's an elephant. What's the horse? The Democrat or the Republican? Which one is a horse?
Neither one of them, actually.
Oh, well, it's a donkey. One of them is a donkey, right?
Yes,
that's a
donkey's the Dems.
Yeah, donkey, horse, same difference, right?
Well, Denton, we've got you here today because your most recent podcast, the most recent, in my opinion, podcast with Denton Day, available on the worldofsportsnetwork.com, is about the NBA free agency period. And, you know, it is almost more exciting than the season, really. Everybody's got hope. Everybody's got that sense of if we just get the right player and go from there, it's an exciting time to be a fan.
And you know what? It's exciting time to be the family of those guys because it's about that check time,
Right,
baby.
it's always about the
called
check.
max contract season, baby.
That's right.
That cheddar. I'm like, forget the championship, man. I'm trying to be somebody's relatives, man. That's who's really winning.
Well, I'll tell you something. Speaking of forget the championship, as we mentioned in the open, Paul George screwed everything up right off the bat by announcing damn near at midnight that he was staying in Oklahoma City. Denton, what do you make of this?
Well, first of all, I'm really looking forward to his documentary where we get to see the party. I know they had Nas out there performing on
Looks
stage.
pretty good.
So I'm looking forward to seeing some of the footage of that. But it was a real shock. In my podcast, which conveniently was recorded right before it was announced that there was going to be a party.
We're doing the same
predicted
thing.
He was going to L.A. I mean, we got to remember Magic Johnson took a fine for tampering with Paul George, and when the time came to get him and to lock him up, he doesn't even get a meeting with him. That's certainly not the great start that Los Angeles had for what is supposed to be maybe one of the best free agency periods of that franchise's history. So they're already losing one of the top guys, one of the guys that was, I guess, a lock to come there.
Thought
They
of as a
lose him.
lock. Now, it was also, we heard Magic Johnson this week say that if he doesn't get the big free agents in 2 years, he would resign. Do you think he knew he wasn't getting Paul George when he said that?
I don't think he did. When he said that, I was like, okay, now we know they're getting somebody
Obviously,
big because Magic Johnson's not going to say that and not get somebody. And then they missed out on Paul George. So now I'm a little skeptical of this. Will he stay true to his word here, or will they actually land somebody like LeBron in the next few days?
So my question, I know you guys were emphasizing as far as Magic Johnson, but we all know the real guys I could recruit here is LeBron. So my question, I guess I'm kind of off loss, is obviously the Lakers didn't sit down with Paul George from what I'm hearing from your podcast, but did LeBron talk to Paul George? Because I think that's a bigger, more impact in my personal opinion, because whatever LeBron is the king.
It's a good point.
LeBron call or text Paul George, and there got to be some type of a dynamic there I think that was missing.
Now, we heard LeBron called Kevin Durant and said, join me in L.A. But did he talk to Paul George at all? What do you think, Denton?
I would imagine they had some sort of contact at some point. I mean, these are guys that have known each other for years just based on USA basketball and the fact that they're two great players. So I'd imagine that they would have some form of contact. But really what it came down to, just from sources and what we've seen from the so-called experts, is that Paul George's relationship with Russell Westbrook was really the driving force in keeping him in Oklahoma City. I mean, of course, Russell threw that party.
I never would have bet on that.
So Russell could play with other guys. Is that what's happening right now?
And that's what it seems. Trust me, I'm just as surprised as you guys because I didn't think that he could, but that seemed to be the driving factor in keeping Paul George. So it worked. I mean, whatever Russell did worked. Didn't work for Durant, but it did work for George.
That's fascinating. Now, does this get Oklahoma, that Melo resigns, he picked up his option. They've got Westbrook. They've got Paul George again. They weren't really a challenge this year. Do you think they're going to challenge next year? What else has to happen for OKC for them to get Paul George his ring?
Well, they got to dump Melo's bum-ass contract. I mean, that's terrible. They need to get rid of him and get somebody else. And then just from a pure basketball standpoint, this year, with the unit that they do have, so assuming that they do keep Melo, they need to use Steven Adams a lot more. He's one of the most underused guys in the league. If they can effectively use him and Paul George and Russell Westbrook, that's a pretty solid big physical big three. So that's one thing they need to do in terms of X's and O's, but the Melo contract needs to go first. He's taking up way too much money for a guy that's not producing.
Yeah, too much cap space for a guy that should be coming off the bench at this point.
The way I really look at this is Alessio and Denton, they're the same exact team. All right, they just age, or some might say they're more gelling this year, whichever vantage point you're coming from. But it looks like they just basically just put a new motor in the same car. At the end of the day, are they better than they were last year? Maybe. But are they better than, say, Golden State?
Not even Golden State. Are they better than Houston? You know, the question is, can anybody beat the Warriors? Can OKC beat the team that might beat the Warriors is the question here.
What's your opinion, Denton?
I think the better question on top of that is, can they beat the Jazz? and realistically speaking, with what they've done so far, I don't know if they can. I like what Utah's doing, and that should be their first goal, beating the Jazz before they even start to think about the Warriors.
I think that's a good point, too. Now, I'm as surprised as anyone that he's staying in Oklahoma. You know, to me, that's the most amazing thing.
Something we're missing. You remember the first time first time the trade happened last I forgot what episode it was on TTR.
Right, last summer.
I'm like, imagine the nightlife in Oklahoma City. But I guess there's some investment out there in the nightlife, boy.
It must be better than we think it is.
We got to take a trip back to Oklahoma City. To all the ladies, all the single ladies in OKC, baby. The guru is coming down. The guru is coming. And guru is coming.
Yo, speaking of hydro women.
Whoa. I got to break some news for you, fellas.
Breaking news.
It looks like LeBron just signed with LA.
Whoa! And LeBron, like the guru always been saying. And LeBron.
I'm going to tell you,
breaking news from Denton Day. Live World of Sports on Denton Day. Breaking the news, LeBron James is going to where?
He's going to Los Angeles. 4 years, $154 million.
Damn,
according to Woj. That's a big Woj bomb right there.
Hell of a 40-year. Hey, you know what? Everything just changed as far as our TTR episode right now.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad to hear it because
just changed.
We were talking in the beginning. Denton said that he put out his podcast, and then Paul George made his announcement. We were going to have the same problem with LeBron in our podcast. So if that's true, and you know what? If it's a Woj bomb like Denton says, I believe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he doesn't miss those ones. That's big time.
No, that's a dude who when he swings, he hits.
LeBron signed with LA.
There it is.
All over.
There it is.
And my thing is, are we shocked? Didn't we hear this?
No.
Could we go back to episode 36 when I told you guys
36?
Nike.com career says.
Oh, yeah, well.
Nike, hey, Denton, I knew LeBron was going to L.A. right before their asses got swept. So now what does this mean for LA. Now we already know Paul George is not there, and I know this just happened. Now, do you think who else will be coming to to join LeBron? Because you and I
That's
both
the question.
know LeBron don't go alone. That just don't happen.
So now hang on, let's set this up because we know that now Paul George is signed, LeBron is signed, CP3 is signed, DeAndre is signed, Boogie's still out there unsigned at the moment, and Kawhi. Capella and Kawhi is the real wild card in all of this. Has to still be Kawhi Leonard. So how do they get another superstar to pair with LeBron, or do they even need to with the young talent they have?
Absolutely, they need to.
Well, the guy that I would think right now would be the most likely to join him would be DeMarcus Cousins. At the beginning of free agency, it seemed like he was going to stay in New Orleans. But just based on the fact that Paul George didn't end up in LA, that left them with another max spot. So they've been talking today. He would make sense in terms of star power, but a guy that I think LA should invest in more long-term is Julius Randle. Pairing him with LeBron, Randle's a big hustle guy. And that's kind of what LeBron needs. When you look back at the 2016 championship, Tristan Thompson was the third most important player on that Cavaliers team solely because he hustled. And Julius Randle can do a very similar thing on the floor. I would say that Kawhi Leonard is probably out at least this offseason, especially with Lonzo Ball getting injured and LA not wanting to move Brandon Ingram. But what they have going on right now is a solid core. If they can get Randle, or if they can keep Randle, or possibly land DeMarcus Cousins, I think the Lakers would be in a good spot.
Now, the next question this comes down to is, what does this mean for LeVar Ball? I mean, if we're gonna talk about the Lakers, this is obviously he's got a TV show out there. He's got a lot invested in this.
The Baldashians.
The Baldashians. I mean, are we going to see LeBron on the Baldashian show now? Is it guest appearance by LeBron James?
You know what just happened? The King just came to LA. That's the end of the balls.
That's it. That's all.
Hey. Guess what, LeVar? You got no more balls, baby.
Thanks for playing.
The King just took over L.A. Oh, my gosh.
So
breaking news.
Now, he stays in the West. Is this team, do you think L.A. is going to be enough then to get past the Warriors? If they get another star there, is that the kind of team that can get past the Warriors? LeBron hasn't gotten past them but once.
Ask me again in like 48 hours. I think that would be the best time to truly answer that based on what they have right now. So assuming they keep everything that they have right now and maybe keep Julius Randle, they're still not quite enough yet. But going down in the future, I think the development that we're going to see in both Brandon Ingram and a healthy Lonzo Ball, and you can even throw Kyle Kuzma in there as well, playing with LeBron James is going to be monumental for their careers. So moving forward, I think they will eventually challenge the Warriors. But as it stands right now, unless they go out and get DeMarcus Cousins, or if they somehow manage to work out a Kawhi Leonard trade, right now they still don't have enough.
So the next question then is, what happens to Kawhi? Because he's the biggest name that's still kind of hanging, and with a trade as opposed to a free agency, that's a different kettle of fish. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to be in San Antonio.
Play that evidence. Make that very transparent. He don't want to be in San Antonio.
Right, and he's made it clear that he wants to be in LA. So, like, as a Sixer fan myself, I don't want the Kawhi trade because it seems to me like he's a rental. You know, like he's there a year and he's making his way to LA. What do you think, Denton? Is this the kind of guy that's going to stick on a team, or what now happens in the Kawhi mix? How does this monkey wrench out?
I think eventually what it's going to play down to is he'll likely join LA next summer. So I do think he's going to be a rental for somebody. And the way I see it, San Antonio is way too smart to not get something for him. I just don't think it's going to be this offseason. I do think his stock is going to rise a little bit come the trade deadline time, because there's going to be a couple teams that are sitting either on the edge, or on the brink of playoff position, or in that 4 to 5 range that are going to think to themselves, you know what? We could use Kawhi Leonard for a playoff run, and let's just see how it goes. So I think he's going to stay with San Antonio until that deadline, and then where he goes at that point is anybody's guess.
You know, I think that makes the most sense anyway, is to him stay there and, you know, before a team trades for him, make sure he's healthy. If you're going to give up a bunch of prospects, if you're going to give up draft picks, make sure that Kawhi can still play. You know what I mean? And then get him for your run, and then deal with what you're going to deal with. Now, hang on, we just got to say, we got a bit of a technical difficulty, so we've lost the video with Denton, but we still have the audio with him for now. So we'll keep up with this for now, and we'll keep that nice shot of him back there for people to see.
Hey, real quick, Denton, I'm kind of curious. Obviously, with the transition of LeBron now going to the West, being an East Coaster like us, obviously, being from
Great question.
That side, how does this do as far as a fan of the NBA? Because obviously we know with KD in Golden State, we kind of 98% everyone in the world knows Golden State Warriors are favorite. Now with LeBron shifting everything to the West, why would I want to watch the East play basketball? Why would I want to watch NBA on TNT?
Oh, it's real easy. Joel Embiid. How could you not want to watch Joel Embiid?
It comes down to that. You know, you got the Philadelphia 76ers, who are going to be a great team this year, again, assuming they stay healthy. You got the Boston Celtics, who, if they stay healthy, probably would have smacked the Cavaliers in the playoffs this year.
If they had been half healthy.
LeBron leaving is we're not getting a fifth year of Golden State versus Cleveland. So that's a big plus. And now it's time in the Eastern Conference to build more stars. And that's really what it's going to come down to. Now it's time for Kyrie Irving to take that next step, for Joel Embiid to take that next step, for John Wall to take that next step. The list of guys that need to take that next step in the Eastern Conference is very, very big. And now they have a legitimate opportunity to do it, to get that experience in the conference finals. And we're going to have a young star making their first playoff appearance.
Giannis, the Greek freak, taking over the East.
Yeah, now at least on the East there is a path to the finals. You know, like we see, you can see the promised land if you're a basketball player, if you're a young guy in the East. And you know, you mentioned the Celtics. Denton mentions the Celtics, and he's right. That team, they almost made it this year without their two best players. Their two best players were sitting on the bench, and they took LeBron to 7. I think you got to look at the Celtics as the team to beat in the East going forward.
So now is this basically?
Also, I don't want that pressure on the Sixers.
So is this basically a red shirt year for LeBron? Is this one of the things the critics, everybody, depending on who else comes to LA, but we all basically saying this is a year we're gonna let LeBron slide, even if he loses in the first round of the playoff or second round, he gets per se red shirt year?
This is the year we finally get Space Jam 2. I mean, that's what we're finally getting. He's finally in LA.
Finally.
He's not going to go to the finals again. So we get the opportunity to see him in Hollywood acting in Space Jam 2. So he's not going to make it 9 straight in the finals, but we're going to get to see that, and that makes it okay.
Absolutely. I like that.
Now, Denton, we are almost out of time here with you. I know you got to get back to things there on the East Coast, and I'm sure you want to dive in and find out a little bit more about this LeBron thing yourself. So before we let you go, I got to ask you, speaking of free agency, now Guru's not going to let me ask about this on the air, but I'm going to ask you, what do you think happens with Bryce Harper going forward for this year? Can the Nationals make the run that they need to make, and can they keep him, shifting gears to baseball, can they keep him at the end of the year, or are we going to see the same style bidding war disappearance like we saw at LeBron in Cleveland?
Well, I would really like to not see one of those bidding wars, and I would really like to keep him, but at this particular point in time, it seems like as the season goes on, the dollar figure that it's going to take to keep him is getting lower, and I'm okay with that. But from a Bryce Harper perspective, the emergence of Soto in the Nationals lineup, it does him no favors at all. That 19-year-old kid can play.
It's incredible.
So from the Nationals' perspective, it gives us hope because there is life after Bryce Harper, and we have Trey Turner, Scherzer, Daniel Murphy. We can sign him for a lot cheaper than we can sign Bryce Harper, Soto, and Anthony Rendon. So we got a lot of good players that we can still win with if we lose Bryce Harper.
Yeah, it almost sounds to me like you're saying move on from him.
That's what it sounds. Basically, he's saying if we do have to move on.
Okay, we
do have a nice place that's set in place for him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with moving on. I love Bryce Harper, and I don't want to, but if he's asking for $400 million, see ya. Bye.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple.
Hey, we all know what happens in the offseason now. It's that check, baby.
It's chasing the check.
That check season. It's not even called offseason no more. From now on, the Guru is calling it the check season, baby. Who cares? It's never offseason. It's that money season.
And with that, Denton Day, thank you so much for joining us on Trash Talk Radio. Thank you so much for breaking the big LeBron news.
News.
They're going to say, where were you when LeBron signed? And I'm going to say, I heard from Denton Day.
Hey, Denton, what's LeBron's numbers, man? What's that check? I want to hear LeBron's number. 5 years, what is it?
$154 million.
God, $150 million reason to stay in L.A.
Looks nice.
He's getting paid. He's getting paid.
But like this, that might be over just $100 million, man. That tax in LA is crazy, man.
Right, it's real high out there.
So
Yeah,
it's only getting $100 million, man. That's all.
That's it. Only 100.
Only 100 million. Shucks.
You can find Denton Day on Twitter at Denton_Day. Denton_Day on Twitter, and look for the In My Opinion podcast and the In My Opinion column appearing on worldofsportsnetwork.com. Denton Day, my man, thanks so much for joining us here on Trash Talk Radio, and we will talk to you again.
Yes, sir. Dan, have a good day, bud. Have a good drive.
Thanks, guys.
Man.
Appreciate it.
Guru, we are back, and we just got some big news from Denton Day. We are still processing the fact that LeBron has now signed. I see you check in as we go again.
It is all over. It is official.
On a high note, at least our show's relevant this week.
It is official. But everyone should have known the Guru last show. We said it many times, and I'm going to repeat this again. Forget all that shenanigans about Philly, that shenanigans about he's going to Golden State, texting this and that. Man, LeBron, first of all, LeBron don't text.
He texted Kevin Durant.
He don't text all that bull-ass Stephen A. nonsense. You better listen to Guru. And the Guru follow the check, baby. And I follow Nike. And Nike told me months and months ago he will be in Inglewood.
So that is a 5-year, $154 million contract, according to Adrian Wojnarowski on ESPN. That is the Woj bomb of Woj bombs this year, man. That is a lot of check, boy.
Dude, LeBron has been getting that check. LeBron, get that check. I love the check season, man.
So now, we talked about it a little bit with Denton. What do you think happens from here? Is he going to get another guy with him?
Absolutely.
Who do you think he's going to pull?
Absolutely. Oh, man, this is obviously the big name is Kawhi.
Is Kawhi still hanging out there?
Still hanging out there. I just don't see.
And we talked with Denton a little bit about Kawhi, starting with San Antonio. Mm-hmm. I think that would be the best move for any team.
And then by trade season or just finish the season?
Until the trade, until he becomes that mercenary that somebody needs to get over this year. Because, as a Sixer fan, I don't necessarily want to give up the farm to get Kawhi Leonard to come to my team in order to have him there for a year before he goes and joins LeBron for the remaining 3 years of LeBron's contract.
I'm sure Danny Ainge in Boston won't mind.
I'll tell you what, Ainge would probably. Well, he's got tons of assets too.
I'm telling you, man. Imagine that now.
Well, I think, as we said with Denton,
imagine that.
I don't want to imagine that. I'm much happier. I don't even want to imagine the Celtics.
Boston is going to be talk. You know how them Boston guys are, man.
I don't even want to think about Boston with Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving back on the floor.
Oh man,
Boston's going to be a problem anyway.
That's a real mercenary team. If Kawhi do go there, because Kyrie, there's rumbling that Kyrie might be gone too after next year. Obviously, his contract is up, and Kawhi's
he'll go to the Warriors. Obviously,
be a one-year guy. So it's going to be a very interesting doing check season, man. Check season is becoming the best season in the NBA.
It's sometimes more fun than the season,
And the funny thing is, next year we're going to have another check season. Yeah, we're going to have another check season, man. So we already know who's going to win the championship. I mean, I can tell you now. So take this straight to the LeBron bank.
All right, what do we got?
The Warriors, man. Team Wallabim.
They're still better.
It's still better.
Yeah.
Because KD is still in Golden State. That's just what it is.
And with Curry there, and with Thompson there, who's probably going to re-sign,
the thing is, there's no one on planet Earth, and I keep saying that again, that could hinder the Golden State because they got the best luxury in sports. That is Kevin Durant.
So now, we heard that LeBron tried to get Durant to come with him to L.A.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Shit, that's what I thought, too. It made perfect sense to me.
LeBron is not a fool, man. He's a businnman.
I'll tell you what, KD, you want to get another ring? Why don't you and I? And KD was like, I get one anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, put a ring on it.
So, I don't even know what to say on that. Guru, we got to take a quick break here on Trash Talk Radio. We're going to regroup after this big LeBron news.
Breaking news, baby.
Breaking news from Denton Day. Our thanks to Denton Day for not only joining us, but joining us in time to break that huge news on the air with us here at Trash Talk Radio. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about we got 65 days left of the NFL season.
Hey, you know those
Check season in the NFL.
That's a lot of numbers. It's kind of funny. A lot of guards are 65.
Really?
Ooh.
All right, so let's talk about the top 5 guards in the NFL when we come back. You know we're going to do the 2-minute drill after that. Guru, I don't have a game for you this week, but we'll do the 2-minute drill anyway. Stick around. Trash Talk Radio.
TTR, baby.